Craig Bellamy, also now the Wales head coach, but it's been some journey from little young man over your shoulder.
No, you could have picked better pictures, surely.
To the Wales head coach behind you. He looks so grown up and serious.
Completely different.
Quite the career, though, Craig. And we have to remind viewers of this extraordinary journey that you went on as a player, which, as I say, started at Norwich and went to quite a few clubs along the way, totalling 552 appearances, 170 different goals, and the only player to score Premier League goal for 7 different clubs.
Yeah.
Wow. That's the only player?
Yeah.
Wow,
one, yeah.
some stat there.
It's
I mean, does that make you... does that make you really proud that 7 Premier League clubs, wanted you at their club, or are you more disappointed they couldn't wait to get rid of you? I mean,
I do feel that at times, yeah. No, I believe when you finish, you look back and actually when I look at the career, like I'm beyond proud. I honestly believe any more, because people are always like, what more could you have, like, I honestly believe I got the most out of everything I had, and even the appearances actually shocked me as well. Like I had 7.
That's a serious weight of numbers.
I had 6 knee operations, 2 hernia operations, and I had that from a young age as well, from the age of 19, 20, done my cruciate, and I had ongoing problems as well with my patellar tendons, and I feel my dedication, my attitude, I couldn't have asked for more, and that's the honest truth. And and anything else would have been greedy. And when people ask, do you miss it? Of course, we always will, but I'm so grateful I had it. And I cherish that as well.
When you're talking about your injuries, the thing that really struck me about Craig was when we were at Liverpool was the work you used to do before training. Now, that's probably a big thing now with sports science, activation, I think they call it, before you go out and train, and you almost warm yourself up in the gym before you go out and do the warm-up with the team. And I'd go in now and again, maybe do a bit of weights or sit-ups or something before training, kill a little bit of time. But he used to have a programme. Yeah. And he wouldn't be in there with a physio. It's easy for the physio to drag you in there. Yeah. You had your own programme. He would be in there every day before training without fail, balancing on the balance board, something for your knee strength, hopping, strength on one knee, every single day without fail.
I realised quite quick as well, which actually I believed helped my career, that it wasn't normal anymore. So my knee wasn't in the shit. Like if I didn't maintain my knee, I was gonna, like, I wouldn't be able to play to the level I wanted to play at. So even after training as well, the detail I'd go into actually with ice baths and actually treatment. So I would leave late as well. So it taught me a level of professionalism that I kept throughout my career, and I've been able to keep into coaching as well.
I'm sure you would admit that you were at times a challenge for some of the managers that you played under. Would you admit that?
Look, my biggest, I always wanted to know why. That was it. Now, if we're going to go on a long run, why? Is it going to benefit me? Now, if it did, I'm there. You show me the evidence of where it is. And some managers really embraced it, some didn't. Now, I understand why. But also my part of coaching is like whatever I choose to do, now whatever training session, whatever meeting I take, there's a why behind it. I feel it's so important because I look at every player as what would I do if I was coaching me? Now that's the example I want. And I never, if a player ever disagreed, I have no problem. Like I have to show you why, and I have to show you what's going to benefit.
But the reason I asked you that question was more along the lines of thinking about you as someone who was already thinking about coaching and quizzing those people that had the responsibility to make those decisions of the teams that you were playing in, and you were thinking maybe at that stage, why, like you say, what's the reason behind this?
No, of course, but also I always wanted to know as much about the opposition as I could. I always felt like I needed to be prepared. And you were like that as well, Cara, it was like, I need to, give me more. give me more information. And I sometimes probably felt more frustrated with the lack of information I was given, the lack of analysis on the opposition. And I always felt as well, there's a way of playing this game. I don't quite know how to put the pieces together quite yet, but there's got to be more than this. This is like going back to front and winning, waiting for second balls or knockdowns, chasing balls.
So at what point was there a moment, Craig, when you were, playing? Maybe when you were rehabbing from an knee injury or something that you thought, actually, this is something that I want to carry on post playing. I want to be a coach myself.
No, it was it was sort of like a wake up of when I went into when Gary Speed took over the Welsh manager's role. It was so interesting for me because he was a player I adored. Incredible attitude when we talk about doing things early and like staying back, and he was a real professional for me, someone you could learn off. But watching him then become a manager and looking at the detail he was able to go into, especially from being a player but always seeing the game that way, was probably got me excited. That was the part of I was like, do you know what, that's good. Actually, that's right. And I just, I don't know, for me, that was the only time I started to, well, what would I do? What would it look like if I was doing this? Or do I agree with this? And there was a lot I really agree with Gary and even the people he had around him. And I actually started to see, do you know what, not just from football, there's a life after this. Maybe this might be a part of that. I don't know.
Just one thing, I said before the show, there was probably 5 or 6 players in my career in the Liverpool dressing room I thought they understand the game a little bit more than most in the dressing room. You were one of them. I think one thing that stood out for me was you had 2 spells at Liverpool, and your first spell, you probably had a little bit more pace, and it was about, as you're saying, making runs in behind, being a nuisance, running down the channels, nightmare to deal with in training and for the opposition players. But the thing that stood out for me was normally when you see players like you who rely on pace, sometimes you can say they don't understand the game.
Yeah,
They've got a lack of understanding. They just run all over the place, but they don't understand why they're running and where they're running. When you're coming back your second time, you almost become at times playing like a number 10. Now, people wouldn't associate you with that. And what you used to do with the ball, because sometimes you get strikers who have been strikers who play on the last line, running behind, get goals, then they maybe have lost the pace and they all have to come a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But every time they get the ball, they want to do something clever with a back heel, a flick. They want to try and put someone through on goal. Whereas every time you had the ball, you played the right pass. Now, that might not be, if you stood in the stand saying, oh, it's an eye-catching pass, but it's the right decision for the team at the time. And I always remember thinking about you as that play the second time you came to go under Kenny. I admired that more than what I'd seen when you first come, where it was like, he understands the game. I know that's speaking to him, but actually the fact that you'd sort of changed your game with your injuries or lack of pace, I think told me, you had a great understanding of the game.
Yeah, I also felt with Kenny there was more freedom. I felt with Rafa, it was difficult for the forward player. But that can happen. It's, the one part I would always say, always put the team first. The team was the most important to me. I was lucky I had an incredible hero like Ian Rush, who taught me how to press. Watching him as a young kid, being the first line of defence was like, that was it. And it still is now. My identity is, when I look at the team, I want my identity to come out. And now I try and pick pieces of everything I can to try and get that. But also, I want the team to resemble me as well. Even my madness. I want that to live within the team.
But Vincent Kompany's been a key part of this coaching journey so far, and you've worked alongside Vincent. You took to Belgium and then obviously with Burnley as well. What is it about this relationship? What is it that you see in Vincent Kompany as a coach that you found inspirational, that you've drawn from yourself?
Well, he was coming to the end as a player when he went to Anderlecht, and I went straight away with him. And it was difficult for him because he was trying to manage as well as play, and his injuries then took his toll. Then he came into management. We were sort of given the keys to a real good club. Like Anderlecht's a very important club in Belgium. He's from the youth. We had incredible youth. Like the young players I got to work with, like Jeremy Toku's, Zeno de Bast, Salamakers, like it's a real incredible place for young players. So that taught me a lot of the coach. I felt teaching young kids really benefited me from 7s, 8-year-olds to then go into a different country of dealing with different cultures, different backgrounds. That was really beneficial to me. But his calmness, but also there's always a solution. I was quite taken back by him by the fact that he's younger, 5-6 years younger, and to watch how he's able to, if you've got a problem, he'll listen, won't interrupt, and then he'll give his version, but also put in a calm way as well. I like that, and I was able to see he was actually a very intelligent person. I always felt like if he gives someone more responsibility, they were leaving. It was really clever. Everything he'd done was just, I don't know, it just got me to open my eyes a little bit on that side of being a manager, how you have to manage situations, because it wasn't always easy in a place like Anderlecht.
Why didn't you go to Bayern Munich with him? What was the...
My decision really towards the end of the Burnley season was, I felt I needed something different. I felt, and it wasn't because I've been with Vinny for 5 years, but I just felt there was a different path for me. I didn't know if it was to be on my own or maybe work with someone else, but I just felt like our friendship meant a lot to me, and it was time for me to go and see what I could do. I didn't quite know what then.